Before we get started, I want to talk about something that's very intriguing about what's going on today. And what catches my attention when I look upon the Western civilization, I notice when I look at certain YouTube channels, when I recently perused through there, that there's a whole lot of new faces and a whole lot of new people who decided to create their own channel and to create their own content. But the funny thing is, which it really isn't funny, but they decided to do this because of the lockdown situation, and there's a lot of people who they pretty much lost their job, or during the time they figured out that they were kind of bored. They needed something to do, to be creative. And of course, not only that, they need to find an alternate route for themselves, an alternate route of, I guess, some sort of finances or to make themselves known. But it's interesting how it didn't happen before the so-called pandemic. Where everybody just went on their humglum way, and it was always a hunky-dory donkey type of mentality. And it always takes a reality check. It always takes something major to happen in order for people to change the recourse of their life. It's amazing. It amazes me. I'm sitting here looking at all these channels, and I see a lot of people who just... The bad thing about it is we already have a lot of information that's being thrown out into the public circle. We already have enough Googling, enough podcasts, YouTube providers, and so forth and so on as it is. But now it's getting, now it's kind of swamped with people who just want to just put something up there to be popular. When you listen to them, usually it's about stupid stuff. It's things that they're not educational. It's not about empowerment. It's not about family. It's not about the future. It's not about anything that's significant. It's just, it's, what do you call that? It's called, what do you call that? There's a name that they have for it. It's called clickbait, where you see the flashy thumbnail. And when you listen to them, when you listen to what they talk about, you listen to their expression, you listen to what they're presenting to you, and you're getting 80% junk, 20% something that you can deal with. But 80% of it is animatronics. It's just dumb talk. It's stupid mentality, stupid behavior, discussion about useless things. So if you are a mindless individual, you'll sit there and look at it all day because you like to be entertained. You'll sit there all day and be entertained by this individual or individuals, because it's not one, it's several of them, who just want to create a channel just to be creating it for an alternate route, but not significantly providing anything for the country or for society. And so, as I know this, is because I looked through several of them and almost got myself captivated by the thumbnail and discussion. But when I began to listen to the channel or watch them, I end up finding out that they weren't talking about anything at all. And it was very stupid, disgusting. I couldn't finish the video. 5 minutes into it, I had to shut it down. And there were several others that are just the same. I listen to what they talk about, and it's all about, it's dumb. It's just nothing that's going to be. And again, it depends on what type of mindset you are. If you want to be entertained, you're an automaton, puppet, as what most people are anyway, and you love your entertainment, then I guess, like mainstream television, where there is just nonsense entertainment, colors and flashy, dumb subjects, okay, then you'll sit there and you'll listen to it. You sit there and watch it and waste about an hour and a half, or maybe 30 minutes or 20 minutes, depending on what they're making, and don't realize it. Okay, but for a mind like myself, I'm looking for things that make sense, educational items, things that are, things that can move the country forward, things that aren't all about the flash and what looks good and what, who's able to create what out of what dumb stuff, cut a face out of a pineapple, just stupid, that isn't going to provide me with anything because I can do those things on my own. Okay, but it may be different for you, but for me, it will be a useless channel. If it's about entertainment, I don't accept it. Sitting there and just the flashy, what do you call that? Uneducated, childlike subjects, and when you take your time, if you listen to them, and I'm not going to give you any specific channel because I don't bash anybody. Okay, I'm just giving you an anonymous expression here. Is when you watch them and you ask yourself, have you learned anything? Most times you didn't. It's like watching TV, but you're watching YouTube. Why would you do yourself like that? And again, only the mindless, non-productive people won't pay attention to that, but I do. So I had to throw that out there, and it's rather senseless. So now you have an influx of it. Now it'd be a different story if it was something that we could work with, something that is logical, that would help your family, give you something that you can do and fix. There's good audios and videos about people working on cars and building houses and cleaning out gutters and stuff like that you may be able to use. But the ones who are, you can actually notice the ones who are really trying hard are the ones who are really listen to their words, watch the animatronics, watch what they do with their so-called graphics and how they're speaking. You begin to realize they're trying to clickbait you and give you something just to look at. And, you end up subscribing to something that's no different than a television channel, mainstream television channel, and you're wasting your time. If you're going to look at something or read something, make sure it's an empowerment tool. Make sure it's something that's going to somewhat educate you and put your mind in a different perspective, not sit there and put you back in Disneyland. We have enough of that. And it's sad that that's the state of the world that we deal with on a general basis, where there's too many of them. When the pot is working well, and the stew is decent for everyone, and it is actually sufficient, there's going to be a handful of people who's going to want to jump into that pot just to be doing it with no significant reason and destroy the whole ingredients. So I'm beginning to see some of this every so often with all this clickbaiting with these, these so-called producers or content providers, but they're just there to entertain you. So if that's what you want to do, you go ahead and be the bobblehead automaton and you do that. But for me, I don't think so. I'm all about production and knowledge and senseful movement, not senseless behavior, as what is becoming a commonplace. Now I'm going to explain to you that this is another reason why I am not putting anything up there to entertain you. Even though sometimes I talk about things that are funny, I may talk about things that you can relate to, you chuckle off of. But generally, this is why it's not about flash. Yeah, I may not get a lot of subscribers. There may not be a lot of people, but this is why I am called Morpheus. This is why it's all about knowledge. It's all about true information and empowerment, because it's only going to be for the selected few who's really looking to hear something that could give them success. See, the way that my channel works, it's not about you looking at flashing colors and stuff flying around and me trying to show you how to cut a piece of wood, okay, or jumping on a trampoline, or changing my voice in the background to allure you to my channel. It's not about that. Okay. It's created where you can function, you can work out, you can go for a jog, you could be driving in your car, and all you have to do is listen to the empowerment, which is one of the strongest tools, using your ears, whereas you can still function in your life and study and learn something. And that diligence right there is almost like you are walking into, remember when Neo Neo was actually at his cubicle at the time, and he was in front of the computer. Okay. And while he was in front of the computer, of course, that's when my pseudo self, Morpheus, began to contact him slowly but surely to bring him to the Matrix, or to bring him out of the Matrix. But Neo had to go through several stages to do that. He had to listen to my voice on the phone. Okay, and he had to move from one location to the next location as he was sliding out of the cubicle, while Agent Smith was on his tail, chasing behind him. Okay, then of course, after you saw when he was on the top of the building and he was outside on the ledge, eventually he started to get to where he needed to be at, so forth, so on. Okay, it wasn't going to be easy, and it wasn't going to be something that's going to be given for everyone. It's only for a selected few. So when you look at it that way, you will begin to understand that I take our channel seriously. I take knowledge seriously. I take moving America and the families and our social construct and digging into our psyche and breaking the machine a very serious thing. So those who are looking for entertainment, they like flashy colors. They want to have the Disney Channel while they're listening to this YouTube channel. They're not going to find it here. This channel isn't for mindless, childish individual. It's not for those who aren't looking to advance themselves. It is for those who's looking to advance themselves. It's not for those who isn't. It's not for those who think they can just turn off their TV channel because they can't reach it, and all they can do is just pick up their dumb phone and click on some YouTube channel called Leon C, aka Morpheus, and be entertained the same as they do their television. No, when you come here, you are going to be in a different place. When you come here, you're going to learn something. When you come here, you are going to open up your mind. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to teach you, to help you, and to empower you. And to do that takes being serious about the measure of your life. And so today, you saw the title that I got up there, Sponsored Evil. A person asked me a question not too long ago. And it was a very good question, though. And they said, if you were to have a chance at life again and come back to Earth after your time is up, would you want to come back as a human? And of course, me being Morpheus, I said, absolutely not. I would not want to come back here, and I wouldn't want to come back here as a human, and definitely not in the society that we are in. Because the average person today is a blind walking mice without a sense of self on a general basis, whereas we now have to learn how to climb out of the pit that we have put ourselves in. But in order to climb out of that pit that we are in, it's going to require changing our lifestyle and our knowledge. But unfortunately, we have gone too far. And the reason why I say we've gone too far is because there's too much of a system that depends on our lack of self, depends on our ignorance, depends basically on our stupidity, because we're generally stupid. Typically, the average human themselves, they're going to fail. Failure is almost like when you bake a cake or something, there's ingredients that you must have in order for the cake to rise, and in order for the cake to taste like a cake. Yeah, you can sort of change the ingredients around, make it organic, switch it plant-based and all that kind of crazy stuff. It'll take a little bit longer, but it will work. But on the general basis, for the common cake that is, usually the ingredients are going to be the same. And you expect that at the party, at somebody's birthday party, or anniversary, so forth and so on, especially at the grocery store. You're going to see some common ingredients. Okay, and generally most of the ingredients on a typical basis aren't healthy. That's why people say, junk food ain't good for you. Don't mess around with cakes, pies, donuts, and so forth, because those common ingredients that you normally see outside of trying to be vegan and healthy and cane sugar, organic sugar. Okay, most times it's just regular genetically modified white bleached sugar and high fructose corn syrup, model sodium glutamate, and all that type of stuff, modified food starch. List goes on. Yeah, I know all about it. The list goes on. Stuff that I will not touch. I wouldn't even feed it to my child if I had one. My children, I wouldn't feed it to them. Absolutely not. I wouldn't cut them a piece of cake and say, oh, you have it. No, because I know it's going to make them sick, even though to them it tastes sweet and it's okay. But what I'm saying is, not to get off track, okay, is the average person is just the same. Okay, so in the ingredients of the average human, okay, the failure is usually something that's going to be, inevitable. Okay. And also, as it once was, where we make failures and we learn how to make corrections from our failures, we do things that are wrong, we have to correct it, make it right. Okay. The way that the generation is now in the common mindset of the average human, okay, is even more expanded, where we give our failures excuses, and actually we patent our failures and make them to be successes. That's right. So instead of us correcting our mistakes in our lens, we rather capitalize on our mistakes in our lens, and the system does as well. That's why you see on the often a lot of the roots of the problems aren't being solved, because the people behind it don't want to solve your problems. The people that are winning off of your failure, okay, don't want to stop you from failing yourself or hurting yourself. Okay, in the basic studies, if you live long enough and you got your ears to the ground and you got your eyes open to all the indoctrinated, the services, programs, and dumb Disney Channel people walking around like an automaton, like I always say, like hunky dory donkey. I don't know which way did it go, George. And they're in the masses. They're in the masses. So therefore, they sponsor evil. They sponsor the destruction of their country, city, and whatever else, because they are the backbone of it. They're the ones who produce. There was a story years ago, and it's not about cultural, but I'm going to bring this to the fold to give you more sense with this. Okay. A lot of people said, and it may be true, I'm not saying anything bad about it, where it's good, bad, it shouldn't be. But they were saying that blacks supported a lot of the companies years ago. Blacks used their energy. They used their time, their ancestors, their life practically to make America. Okay, to make the countries, to make some of the items, to make some of the automobiles, to make a lot of things that are commonly used today. Okay, so with their labor was considered to be another system as well. So therefore, that's why they weren't allowed to read. Okay, that's why their families were separated. They were put in uncomfortable situations, unfair situations, and distorted situations where they could remain subjected to every other power. They can remain upon to the masters. They can remain so weak where they have no choice but to work for anyone. Same as some of the people that are here today, which is what I'm trying to prevent for your children, anybody's children, and for the future of our society. Whereas our stupidity and our failure, the same as, I'm not saying that the black people failed and wasn't their stupidity. They were in situations where they were being assaulted from the outside. Okay, so it wasn't generally them. It was because they was just basically downtrodden. Okay, I'm just telling you about history. But today it is somewhat the same way. Okay, but also, not only is it somewhat the same way, but there are some people who are willing to set themselves up for failure. They're willing to set themselves up to sponsor evil, whereas they don't provide anything for their children. You're not providing anything for your family. And maybe for some people, it may be a cultural thing as well, where you're not saving any funds left over. You're not building up any infrastructure, no businesses, no bank, no mall, anything like that. So what ends up happening is you have no choice but to work for someone else. You have no choice but to be the modern day slave. You're not the slave as what it used to be, where they just give you a piece of corn and, and a bucket of, slop or leftovers or bologna and pig feet, all the leftover junk that the masters wouldn't eat, the leftover food, that they just wanted to throw down to you in this little wooden bucket, and you happy for it. because it's the only food that you had. You can't make it. That's the bad thing about a situation like that. When you bring it to the modern day, and here, I'm flip-flopping here. If you notice, I'm going to the past, I'm going to the present. You see how I'm flipping back and forth. I'm making a comparison here so you can understand something that is still going on today. Okay. Why evil is sponsored. So they're happy for the pig feet that's cut off the pig, while the masters in the house eat the fresh meat from it, or the bacon or whatever they get from the pig. They cut off the shank, every other type of part, even the what do you call that? The chitlins. Okay, you can, you can give that another name. It's close to it, right? The chitlins, or some people call it fowl. Years ago, they call it the fowl of the animal. Fowl is the internal guts of an animal. Okay, which is where a lot of the common day black people today who still eat chitlins don't know where they come from. That came from those particular days, because the house masters wouldn't eat that junk. They knew it was bad to eat. It was historical. It was a historical fact that they wouldn't touch the internal parts of the animal, and it wasn't edible. The only thing that you needed to eat at the time was the muscle, which was the meat itself, just the meat. Okay, everything else was pretty much discarded and given back to the earth, and considered as waste. Definitely the internal organs, which is foul. Okay, so forth and so on. So because it was more tasteful, even though it was sickening at the same time, if you think about it, the foot of the pig and the fowl of it, the certain part of it that they get out, they create the what do you call that? I can't even think of the word. I just had it on my tongue. The chitlins from, because everybody have a different name for it. The chitlins from have a different flavor to it, and it smells and it stinks. Okay, because pigs are often the most filthiest animals. Some people say that the chicken is the filthiest animals. I'm just going by what they say. I'm not at the farm right now. Otherwise, I would tell you exactly who it is. You could say that both the chicken and the pig is the most nastiest animals because they're the bottom feed. The chicken will go around and pick on anything. Especially if sometimes it's free range, you go right there where the pig is and other type of animals and pick whatever the animal isn't eating. And oftentimes the animal isn't going to eat up everything. It's going to drop stuff out of his mouth and out of a different area, which is the rear end. And your chicken is sitting right back there and start popping it. It'll pop it. It'll eat it. Okay. And so therefore it ends up building up a certain type of flavor, which actually that flavor only relates to one thing that you see when you are leaving your boys and girls restroom. Okay. I'm only giving you the facts here. If you don't like it, too bad. Find somebody else. So what ends up happening is over time, it's disguised through the flesh of the animal. It's disguised through the flesh of the animal. Flavor just don't come from anywhere. Okay, there's a flavor to it because of the amalgamated, mutated type of flesh that I've been dealing with filth. Okay, so therefore, if you notice, some of the slave food that was just thrown down and given to those was based on that particular thing because it has something to offer. And of course, we come down to talking about home cooked meals and soul food and stuff like that. Years ago, soul food was based on, pig feet, ham hock, greens, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, that sort of thing. What do you call that? Cranberry sauce. Okay, which is a lighter end than eating pork and chicken and turkey, which you stuff the turkey with some stuffing. All right, you have to baste it, sit there in the oven for a little while, make sure that is, come on. We know about this kind of thing right here. Okay, but getting back to the story. So in the bucket, you have the several things. You have the corn. Okay, you have the corn. You have the cornbread itself made out of, what do you call that? Y'all know monosodium, the flour. Okay, and they got corn flour and stuff like that. I don't know how they made it in those days, but they made a certain form of cornbread and bread that they had. So I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't know what it is. But they had their own mixture. And so what happened was they will be happy. The slaves will be happy. The people were happy because that's all they were able to get. Think about this. They didn't own a cow. They didn't own a pig. They didn't own any chickens of their own. Okay. They did not own any of the corn that was given to them. They didn't have an acre of corn for themselves. They didn't have practically anything. So they were happy to at least get something for their labor. They were happy to get something for their labor, and then to make them work harder if they were kind of exhausted, to give them more motivation. Okay, there were times where the master would allot them with a certain type of drug. Some people say the drugs can be a form of cocaine. Okay, some of them say it was some crack. Okay, and probably during that time, I'm not sure. I don't want to talk about something I don't know about. It could be a form of dopamine as well, and certain other stimulants that they provided for the slave. Okay, now, and of course, you have the time where they was coming up with beer called ale. I think they pronounced that A-L-E, ale at the time, or drink. Okay, that was in many forms. They was allowed to do that every now and then because it made them work harder. It made them go out there, especially when they gave them a little shot of cocaine in their own form. I don't know how they delivered it to them, but they got it. They will be out there all day. They'll do their job, they'll work, they'll be happy. They'll go home when sundown, and there you go. And then what happens is the slave masters at the time would benefit from it. Because it's cheap labor. All they have to do is give them a little bit to nothing. Then of course, I'm not going to get into the techniques of, selling families, having ownership of slaves, shipping them different places and trading them and having auctions. Okay. We all know about that. Some people are, let's stop talking about it. No, this is important. This is relevant because you need to know why evil is sponsored. This is not a historical, audio. This is a lesson here in this Academy of Wow Men, and me being your professor, Leon C, aka Morpheus. Okay, this is how I teach. This is only a tool that I'm using to accentuate to the actual subject. All right. So let's flip back over to the modern day today. Here today, what do we have here today? Same thing. Okay, there's a lot of people who work for corporations, work for other people because of, once again, because you have the average dumb, walking, blind, self-neglectful and self-hateful individual who don't care about the lifeline of their own offlings, which is called children. Okay, they rear them to be stupid. So therefore, those individuals have to grow up in a unfortunate situation where they don't get the college degrees that they need. Okay, some of them don't have GED. Some of them are struggling around the country and probably stuck on some type of drugs. A lot of them, they had to be strippers. That's right. A lot of the males, they had to hit the streets and become dope dealers themselves, or they had to be victims of dope dealers and try to make their means by going back and forth and doing unduly things, or for some of you may say unrighteous behavior that can hurt someone and have hurt someone. All right. So therefore, they are prodded into the plantation, which is working for someone else, doing for somebody. Whenever you get into that zone, you are getting to the zone of the plantation. Whether you're white, black, Chinese, Mexican, you are still going to the plantation. You are still going, you're signing up and you're going to be working for your master. OK, and in this field, when the modern day, which is today, OK, it plays out the same way. Your food is different, but it's the same food. Your drugs are different, but it's the same drug. The providing for you is different, but it's still the same. Because again, oftentimes people can't do for themselves. Those people who did not have a fortunate upbringing from unfortunate thinking parents, okay, who really say, oh, I love you, but they didn't show their love through action by not providing any knowledge and intelligence to their own children, are telling them to grow up and be a leader. They tell them to grow up and just get a 9-to-5 job. Okay, grow up and go into the plantation, son. And now he's working at a shop for his slave master. Okay, for however money. Now I can clearly understand something, but I'm gonna bring that to the light in just a little bit as far as that's concerned. All right, I'm gonna bridge this forward. But for the furthermost time, getting back to the subject. So let me write this down here. Make sure I still track. The forms that are given to us, as we know, is always on your corner store. What they do, they'll give you a liquor store. You got your liquor store on the corner. Should you end up in a depressed mode, should you end up stressed in your day, should you need a form of escape. And yes, you got your nicotine, your cigarettes, which is still another form of a drug. Many years ago, it was illegal in certain places. And it was hard to come by. But now it's just so common where people don't comprehend that it's still a drug and it's still no good for you. All right. And then there's some other drugs floating around your communities in your town called, what do you call that? Marijuana. All right. Now, even now, it's legal in some states and in some countries. So therefore, while you don't have to do it while you're on the job, I'm pretty sure they ain't going to let you do anything like that, but you still have some flowing through your blood. But it's still no different than you standing out there in your plantation. OK, and you're giving these amenities to work harder and don't give yourself any self-concern. You're not concerned about you being the leader. You rather be the passenger seat driver. You rather be the pawn. You rather be the horse that the horse rider is smacking and riding on to. He go, who? Whoa, whoa, go. Hee-haw. Go, boy. Go, go. Hey, you rather be that person. You rather be the person where, you're on your hands and knees and this person is over you, flicking a switch. Work harder. Oh, come in on the right time. Go. Oh, what are you doing? Hold on. You got to work on Sunday and Saturday. Come on in here, boy. What are you doing? Oh, I give you a 25% raise if you do this. Oh, go. Oh, good boy. Then every now and then they rub your mane. Right? Oh, you're doing good, boy. Doing real good. Good horse. Right? And then some of you, he just ride you to hell. You just keep on going, keep smacking you till you just exhausted and you pass out right there. What happens is if you ride a horse to death, the horse will fall with the owner on it and all. Yeah, it'll get back up for a little bit, but it's going to fall because it's tired. That's what happened. Then it start frothing because the horse is tired. The horse can sweat as well. Start panting. The horse is tired. But you know how humans do that? Complaining. You go to work and you're like, man, I don't want to be here today. Why I got to work on Saturday? I want to be at home with my kids. I'm tired of getting home at 8 o'clock at night. Going to work at 9, getting there for 8. And you say, you're tired. Your body is telling you that you're tired. The horse is getting ready to fall. But yeah, you're like, well, I got to have a job. I have no other choice. I got to make ends meet. I got bills to pay. I got a car note. Some of you put yourselves in dumb situations where you sign up for a car contract for a 3 or 4 year contract for a car that's not worth it. So, you paying some, even if they let you pay like $89 a month, right? And you can do that, right? And you paying the car off and you have, let's just say it may take you, depending on how much the car is, if I do the math, 3 years, 4 years, depending on how much the car is. OK, you don't have any God-given sense to realize that by the time the 4th year comes around, you will hate your car. I've known so many people as a mechanic. I've seen too many people that they will bring their car to me, right? Car is as raggedy as a broken down bar on top of a farmland. Have you ever seen one of those barns that's just tipped over on an acre that it's been abandoned a long time ago? They just don't want to, tear it down for whatever reason, and they want to mess up the what do you call that? God, I can't get the ground. They want to mess up the ground over there. Okay. That's what ends up happening. That's what your car looks like. And then all of a sudden I ask them a question, but like, before I touch it, I always ask them, so I want to know if they got warranty on it so they can send the car to their dealership so they can take care of their warranty. Because if I mess with it, I might mess up their warranty depending on what the situation is or procedure. Even though, yes, I can do it just as well and even more better than the manufacturers or the dealership, because I'm not doing it to take money from you. I do it to fix your car right. Okay, and as a matter of fact, they'll put a planned obsolescent part on it. They'll put an inferior part on your car. I can sniff it from a mile away. Like a dog, I can smell that piece in your car. Okay, and I'll be like, nah, you need to take that out. Put this one in here. It will work way better than that. It's going to last you 3 or 4 years. You'll be like, wow, really? Yeah, be like, you see this little plastic junk? They put this here on purpose so you can go back to the dealership. Wow, I didn't know that. But, before I do that, I always ask them, do you have warranty on the car? You know what? I don't have a warranty. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, you don't have a warranty. Okay, fine. I understand. You may not have a warranty. Warranties only last for sometimes 2 years or a year and a half. Okay, fine. But are you still making payments on the car? I am. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So some of y'all love that stuff. You will pay, you still paying on the car and you do a maintenance on the car at the same time. That's real smart. That's real smart. And the bad thing about it is they can halfway pay for the maintenance for the car because they're still spending money on this piece of junk. Because you wanted to sign up for this car, that's like $89 for, 3-4 years, or some people 5 years. By that time, the car is stuck on the side of the road. It's broke down, a little bit of rust underneath it. Engine ain't working right. You gotta maintenance the car yourself, but yeah, you still making payments on the car that don't even belong to you. How are you gonna make payments on the car that don't belong to you, but yeah, you doing maintenance on it? Check this out. You putting maintenance on the car, you spending money in the car, you fixing it. All right, you putting new wheels on it and everything, and you still making payments on it, and you still don't got the pink slip. Wow, that's nonsense. It's nonsense. Would it only make sense to it, depending on what type of payment you want to pay off. You want to pay it off as sooner than later. The sooner you pay it off, the quicker you can get that piece of junk off of your hands, because eventually that car is going to go downhill, and especially if you don't know how to fix the car yourself. And I see these people all the time. I tell them, get rid of that junk, please. Take that thing and just, let it sink in the water. Be done with it. Okay, because it's a piece of junk. But they'd be like, well, I can't get out of it. I'm in a contract. But okay, fine. I say, why did you get it? Why did you sit there and let the dealership practically swiggle you into the most dumbest contract I can ever imagine, besides marriage? Well, I didn't have a choice. I didn't have the money. My credit is bad. I needed a car at the time. I see. So here we go. We standing at the booth again to sign up for the plantation all over again. Here we go. Because no good sense. Nobody's standing there to help this individual. And a lot of them like, I can do it all by myself. Okay. Some of them, you get my note. Well, I don't need a man. I can do it all by myself. I don't need his help. Even though the man's standing there like, baby, that's not a good idea. Why don't you just go over there? See that car? It's like, for $3,000, you could get that, fix it up. It's going to be good. No, I like this car over here because it's cute. Yeah, okay. It's cute for the first year. And the way most of you drive cars, by the second year, it's going to be tethered. By the third year, it looks like a pile of junk. The bumper's missing. It's dragging across the ground. The muffler is all rusted, got a hole in it, and it's dragging across the ground. The rearview mirror ain't working right. The heat barely works during the winter because you want to say, it's cute. I'm not going to listen to what he has to say, even though he's the logical thinker. I'd rather go ahead and be emotional about it and get this car because it looks good. So the manufacturer and your so-called dealership be like, okay, they like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this apple. I'm going to polish it up and put some nasty wax on the outside of it, even though the inside is rotten. And I'm going to sell it to you because you want something that's cute. I'm going to give it to you because it's cute, but it's not going to be cute after 5 years. After 5 years, you're going to see who's really cute when you're looking in the mirror looking stupid with your hair all over the place, makeup smeared all over your face because you stressed out, you frustrated, you mad, and you really want to kick your car to the curb and get a new one, but you can't. And all you hear every time you turn on the ignition is this real loud car sounding like a tractor going down the road. Because I can do it all by myself. All by myself. Okay, you go out there and you fix it yourself. Go ahead. You go do it then. Nope, they will not. Because you know where they'll go? They'll go straight to the mechanic shop and sit there all day to get their junk fixed while they putting money on it as well. So now they're getting money taken from them twice over. Then they'll come to me, Morpheus. Oh, Morpheus, what's wrong with my car? What's going on over here? By the time they bring the car over to me, it's like 5 or 6 different things wrong with it at one time, where I know for a fact that it's not worth the money. And I know for a fact that doing the work is senseless. It'll survive for probably another 6 months. But here we go with another larger bill on this car that they're putting money on, and they're getting maintenance done on at the same time. Quite genius. Quite genius. Because what most people do? They go by emotions. They'll go buy something emotionally. That's why they let you test drive the car emotionally. That's why they put these so-called, what do you call that? Stinky air fresheners now in your vents to make you think, oh, this car smells so good. It's so comfortable. It got the start stop dumb device in it. Got the backup camera because I can't use my eyes. It can, it has sensors to tell if there's a car next to me because I'm too retarded to turn my head to see that there's a car next to me. And you get the car, give it 4 or 5 years, and now you sitting there like, God, I wish I hadn't did that. Then something breaks on you, and it will, like the start-stop system. Okay, the keyless entry, the push button, start button, all that kind of dumb stuff. And now you spending more money than what it's worth. The dealership going to be rubbing their thumbs like, yep, that's $1,300. And you're like, oh my God. Yeah, they're bending you over, of course. They're bending because you sign up for it. Because you don't listen, nor are you trying to learn anything. Too busy want to be entertained by a Disney Channel. See, I talk nothing but straightforward facts. Don't like it? Find somebody else. You are here speaking to Morpheus in person. Well, on YouTube, but you get my drift. You're speaking to me right now. Not here to entertain you, give you blowing up balloons in front of you and look at this. This is how you're supposed to cut concrete, as if that's going to save you. When your car cut that concrete, whenever the wheel bust, because the steering wheel ain't working right. I'm more concerned about your life. I'm more concerned about your future. I'm more concerned about your empowerment, not your entertainment. Entertainment isn't going to save your life. That's for idiots. And we have too many of them in the numbers for clickbait. You ain't clickbaiting when you come over here. You're going to hear something that's going to get you forward. So therefore, getting back to the channel here, what we was talking about. Okay. So today it's the same thing. So you get your cigarette. Some people still stuck on opioids. People love their marijuana. They're given that. Okay. Now it's allowed in some places. Okay. And what are you doing? Still working, still out there picking up the pack, or what do you call it? The pickaxe, right? And you swinging it no different than what they used to do in the old days, but differently. And because you can't put the food on your own table, well, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm able to buy this. I can buy this special item. I can buy that over there, but you still don't have your own farm. You still ain't making your own food. And oftentimes, what some people do? I'm going to get this because it's the cheapest. And you still put that stuff on your table. Monosodium glutamates, bad ingredients, stuff that'll give you pimples everywhere. And probably your droppings, pimples at the same time. And then I'm okay. Everything's just fine. You standing there and still the passenger of your own life. The reason being is because evil is sponsored. It's not something that just happens. Somebody is promoting it and somebody is satisfied being in that situation. And most times it's us. Most times it's us. And I'm going to tell you how it happens. And there's two sides of this. And I told you I want to hold on to this as far as the those who are working like that 9 to 8. Like, oh, this is just fine. So this is what I've come to understand in my studies as your professor. Now, I can understand if you're not working more than 40 hours a week, right? And you're working a fair amount of time, but you have the amount of money that you need to provide for yourself. You're not overworking yourself. You're not doing a 9 to 8. You're doing your usual 9 to 5. Okay, and your weekends are off, so you have a little bit of time to yourself. There's a little flexibility, and there's some times where you can take vacations, long vacations, come back, and you'll be okay. All right? Or let's just say, which would be even better, but corporations and jobs ain't going to do that because I know how devilish you are. I'm not talking about you who's listening, you who are of the corporations and jobs. We're like, no, we want you to work we want you at 5 days a week. 5 days a week. But okay, why don't you give us another week a day and make it 4 days a week instead? So now people are really living their life and having the money that they need. I'm sure you who are listening to this sound like a really good idea, right? Don't tell me if you are telling me that you don't think it's a good idea, you got to be the most horriblest, dumbest mammal out there in the plantation. Okay, and you need to sign up, and you're going to be the one who's going to be usurped from until they milk you, cut you, and you're going to be done just like they do any cow. Okay, and you're going to be sitting there, moo, okay, alone. Okay, because if you're working 5 days a week, okay, and you have to make a certain amount of money, it would not hurt to make 4 days a week and still make that same amount of money. So now you got 3 days to yourself. Now you can spend time with your family. Now you can take care of your hobbies. Now you can take care of your appointments, your health appointments, maybe even your hair appointments for some of you. Now you can go relax and do what you need to do. Now you can find out what you are and what you want to do with your own life while you are providing the means for you and your family. But no. That's too much like right. Morpheus is talking about something that is not impossible, but that your so-called Agent Smiths aren't going to try to do. They want to get more out of you. They want more out of you. And you know how they do that? Why don't you stay an hour later? Why don't you stay 2 hours later? We don't have anybody working over here on Saturday. Why don't you go ahead and work from Monday to Saturday? You get a little overtime, but, go ahead and get a little overtime, and at least you got a Sunday off. And any retarded child would know. Not what I mean by retard. I'm not talking about retarded child. Don't even go there. I'm talking about somebody who's retarded of knowledge, somebody who's kept away from thinking. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. Retard only means that you're prevented of, which you are restricted, you slowed down. Okay. Because I love my children. Okay. So any retarded person, how about that? Or an adult. Okay. Would comprehend that you're still going to get taxes taken out of the money that you are working for. So you're still kind of working backwards. Yeah, you get more money when you work a little overtime, but they're still going to tax you on it. They're taking taxes out of your money that you're working your time for. Tell me, that don't make sense, do it? I mean, just think about it. So you work harder, give more of your time and your life away, okay, to probably get the same amount of money or a little bit less, but get more taken from you. You see how I put that? So you're actually working, you're counterproductive. You're counterproductive and you're working against yourself. Because the more you make, the more taxes they're going to take. I think that's how it works. And even if they're not taking tax, they're still taking taxes out of it because they look at how much you are getting and how much you are doing for that week. Then you feel like, well, this is the only thing that's stable because, I do have a house note and I got a car note. And you keep working. And guess what you do? You find yourself standing outside smoking as many cigarettes as you can. By the time you get done in the week, you don't smoke like a whole box of cigarettes, of cancer sticks. Just no different than that slave years ago working out there in a plantation, and he's getting seeds and pills or however they gave him their cocaine or crack. I don't know how it looks. I don't even know how it comes in or what form, but I'm pretty sure whatever form it was enough to satisfy them. But I can imagine by the end of the week, they probably went through a whole pound or something like that of crack, probably a pound and a half in their bloodstream, in their body, just to survive the whole week. But yet today, getting back to the modern world, still doing the same thing. Because whatever is in that bucket of food, you didn't generate yourself. And you know what the killer part about, let me show you something. Let's go further with this. The killer part about it is this. In the bucket, for most people, you have store-bought food. You got frozen food. You got bread that's baked from the store. You got chicken that was cured and baked from the store, marinated from the store. You got containers of what do you call that? Fruit salad, vegetable salad, seasoning from the store. You didn't make it. You sitting up there, you're still doing the same thing. You still standing in front of the master. Hey, massa, give me something to eat, massa. Master's like, okay. I'll make it, I'll prepare it, and I give it to you. No different than I'm going to go out there and cut the feet off the pig. I'm going to gut the fowl and give it to you because you like this nasty anyway. Okay, I'm going to go get some leftover corn that I'm not going to feed the animals, but I'm going to give it to you. Okay, and whatever potatoes fall from the table. You okay? I'll do it. Thank you. Thank you, massa. Thank you. That's our thinking. Because I'm going to tell you how you doing it. Because here we go. Where's mom at? Morpheus has stepped on the landmine. Where's mom at? Mommy's not baking. Is she going out there doughing to make the cake? To make the bread like they used to? It takes time. I know because I cook as well. Yes, I do. Morpheus cooks. I do. I know how long it takes to make bread. I know what you have to do to put the bread in the pan, okay, to put the dough and everything together. I know what it takes to make things from your hand, to be the one to cut the pig and the cow. And all. It's not easy. I know it's not easy to go out there and get the vegetables from even if you get it from the store, it's fine. If you want to get it from the store, raw, you got your onions, you got your potatoes, you got your green peas, you got your, in this stock. I'm not talking about peas that are pulled away from the stock. I'm talking about in the stock. You got to cut it open and get the peas out of it. Okay. Don't go there. Okay. And the potatoes and so forth that you get, especially your bell peppers. Okay. It takes time to sit there and cut it. You got to prepare it. It's not easy. Okay. Some of you're not as good as, well, I know I'm not. I might, mess up something. But cooking shows where you got to hurry up and put food together. All right. To see you got this cooking challenge, the bake off challenge or something like that. And you only got 29 minutes to 30 minutes or something like that. I don't know how long. I think it's 30 minutes. I couldn't do that. All right. But in real life, if you really want to make a good cuisine that's going to be healthy and not going to be, filled with salmonella and all kind of other stuff. Okay. You're going to need longer than an hour because it needs time to bake. You want to do it right for your family, your kids. Okay. So therefore, most of that food wouldn't be store-bought, boxed, frozen food. It will be something that mommy is making. Mommy made the cookies, not Pillsbury. Okay. Or some other, Debbie or whoever else I don't know if Debbie makes that, but other type of bakeries, that are making the cookies and the bread and stuff like that for you. So if mom is actually doing that, she's in the kitchen, she's slaving 24 hours, 7 days a week, or however long, she's going to need time to do that. But she won't have time to do that because where is she? Where's she at? She signed up as well. That's right. She signed up. She's right there in front of the plantation saying, let me work for you. So while she's working for somebody else, okay, then they're working for her to go ahead and go to these manufacturer plants and other warehouses and places that she has to get her food from in order to put it together. So you'd be thinking, well, it's okay. She's out there getting store-bought food. At least she's buying the food. She's out and she put the food together, from the store. Yeah, but she didn't make the food. That's a different story. It's a different story when you go to the store. You go to the store and you get meatloaf from them. Okay, this frozen pack of meatloaf, and you warm it up in the oven. Here it is. I made it for you. And child be looking at sadly, the kids don't even know the difference. Okay, and you think you did something. You didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. If that's, I went to the store. I got this bag of corn. I got this meatloaf and ground beef and, breadcrumbs, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? I warmed it up. I put it all in the oven, right? I got this container of fruits and this container of, salad, salad, the salad dish. And all I did was just open up the container. I put it on a plate and said, here it is. Here's dinner. Here's dinner. No way. You didn't listen. You didn't do nothing but warm the food up. That's all you did. All you did was put all the food together that you got from the store. And you prepared it on a plate and you're done because you had no time to do it. Probably took 30 minutes to an hour to put somebody else's food on your plate for your children. That's all you did. All you did. Because there's a different story when you got to actually make that meatloaf. Yes, I know how to make meat. I definitely do. Sometimes you can use breadcrumbs. Sometimes you can use bread pieces. Okay. To put that beef together, you got to churn it around, put a little bit of onion in it if you want onion in it. Okay. Some people put ketchup on top, or you can add a little tangy barbecue sauce, something like that. It takes time to do that. Then you got to put it in the oven and let it warm for a little while, right? So it can get its texture. Put a little stick in the middle and make sure that it's done because you don't want it coming out pink because after all, it is meat. Okay. Make sure that it's thoroughly cooked. That takes time. It takes time to do that. But you know what? It's too hard for the modern day person. It's too difficult because you know what? Everything is accessible. Everything is, oh, massa, I need something to eat. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go in there and give you this box of beef and I'm just going to let you warm it up. But we made it for you. We made it for you. So it's still the same thing. And then you go to work, you do it all over again. And some of you like, you know what, forget that. I'm not even going to go ahead and put food in the oven. I'm just going to go right down there to the fast food place. I'm going to drive through the drive-through and I'm going to order my food. I'm going to let somebody else not only cook it, but I'm also going to let somebody warm it up for me. And then when I get home, if it gets too cold, I'm just going to throw it in this radiated box called a microwave and throw it on the table and say, here's your food. Merry Christmas to the American dream. Thank God I'm not a child like I used to be, because if I was, I would take that table and I would toss it upside down. You can spank my butt all you want to. Put me on chores and on punishment all you want to. That table is going to be flipped over, probably on you. I don't care less what you do. I'm going to send you to boot camp. I'll go to boot camp happy. You eat the stuff off the floor. Eating your made up, productive, warehouse manufactured food. And you don't want to spend time to cook food for me? It's too hard for you to sit here and cook something with your bare hands. Why not learn what your style and your ingredients are from your own, your own ability to cook and provide for me? I'm glad I'm not 16, 15, 14. If I was 16, 15, 14 with the knowledge that I have now, that table will be flying across the room. I'll be in all kind of trouble. Go to your room. I know my rear end will be tore up. And I know I would deserve it. Hey, what can I say? If I tip over the table with the food on it, well, I gotta expect there's gonna be a result. Mommy and daddy, is not gonna sit there and let me, tip the table over like that. But you know what? I'm doing it for a reason. Especially with the knowledge I have now. I'd be like, what are you trying to feed me? What are you trying to feed me? Then check this out. Then 5 years later, I'm stricken with Alzheimer's. 5 years later, I'm stricken with some type of mysterious cancer. 5 years later, I have a learning disability. 5 years later, I'm having struggles focusing. 5 years later, I'm having vein problems. 5 years later, I'm having a spike of diabetes. 5 years later, I can't concentrate. 5 years later, I'm having sleep apnea. Why? Because you're feeding me junk. You're not feeding me from nature. You're not feeding me anything from love. And as a matter of fact, some people said when you put something on the table and it's from love, you can taste it when it's from love. How am I going to taste something from love if it's made from some place somewhere else? Overseas food or something like that. Oh, I got this from Boston Market. Here you go. I'm going to be like, oh, so Boston Market is my mom and dad now? Mom? So are you Boston Market? Here we go. Paint the walls again. Paint the walls again. But okay, you want me to love you, but this is how much you love me? You don't have time to cook for me. Oh, I'm just too busy. I'm an executive. I'm a secretary. Oh, I'm a nurse. I just don't have time. But you know what? We got some White Castle here for you. Some Chinese food. There you go. I know you love Chinese. There you go. Eat their food too. Yeah, sure. I love the Chinese. I love the Chinese food, but that's not what I'm looking for every day. That's not going to be sufficient for my nutritional needs and substantial requests for my own anatomy. It ain't going to work like that. And so because we have allowed ourselves as a country, as a people and family to go down that rabbit hole like that, okay, and we think everything's okay because everything's provided and made for us because we don't make it for ourselves now. Everything is ready made. Everything's ready boxed. Already got holes and all you got to do is just go and just put it together. And we call ourselves men and women. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Get out. Go. The door's open. So we provide a means of evil to come in. And you'll think, okay, how is this evil? How is this evil? Because it's one seed to the next. You think, oh, the reason why, how evil comes in, I told you this before, it's not knocking at your door. It's not going to come in like a barbarian and bash down everything. It's not going to come in like a tornado where you can see it from afar. And the weatherman said, here comes a tornado. Watch out. No, it comes to you very soft, very kind, very, what do you call that? Under the radar, like, hey, how you doing? Here, just try a little bit of this. It's not going to hurt you. Just try to remember that, some of y'all play that game San Andreas, right? Remember when Sweet was getting ready to lose his mind and that crackhead woman walked up to him and she was on her knees. She said, Go ahead, sweet. Just take a little bit of this. It's a rich man's drug. Everybody's trying it. He was like, no, I ain't gonna take that stuff. But he started weakening because what was she saying? It ain't gonna hurt you. Just give it a try. Everybody's doing it. It's so nice. Just give it a try. It'll make everything better. It's the same thing. It'll come to you just like that. Oh, well, sure. I'll use a microwave. It ain't gonna hurt. Sure, I don't have time to sit there and wait for it to boil. So, on the stove top. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw it in the microwave because it's helping me because I'm an executive. I don't have time. I don't have time. I'm just gonna order my food. Now that's the third step right there. That's the third step right there. After microwaving your food and getting the food from the store and just here we go. After the fast food, right? And you go there, they warm it up for you. They make it, they warm it up, and they give it to you, right? The third stage is now, I'm just going to sit at home now. Now they're going to warm it up. Now they're going to cook it. They're going to make it. They're going to warm it up. Then they're going to deliver it to me. And all I got to do is just sit here and suck on my thumb. That's the finality. And now we're doing it. Uber Eats and others. Now we're doing it. now we're doing it. Now we just sit back. All we got to do is just call up somebody, Grubhub or something. Right? In other places, like, okay, here you go. Here's you on the phone.
All right. First of all, hold on. I'm trying to think about what I want to do because I know I'm lazy right now. I don't have no sense of self, and because I just don't want to go out and face people because I'm scared of people. Wait a minute. Let's see. I'm trying to read this menu here. Oh, yeah. I don't love my legs. I don't need them. I don't use my legs for anything nowadays. I just sit in front of a cubicle. I'm okay. I'm fine. But pretty soon I'll be in a wheelchair. But I'm babbling. I know. You want me to make my order? I know. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm still trying to think. It takes a while. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I got a good idea because I tell you what. Because I'm an advanced race and because I've learned my lesson from the past and my ancestors, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up my dumb phone here. I don't know you're using it right now. And I want you to order my food. This is what I want. Okay. And why don't you just go ahead and deliver it to me? I'll be here home all day. And all I would do is probably most likely I'm going to send my son or my daughter to the door to get it because, I'm too busy with myself where I don't want to walk to the door. So I'm going to let them walk to the door for me. And they'll be there and they'll pay the bill. And we would greatly appreciate that. I'll be here at till 9 o'clock. Would you be here before that?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. The order's going to be $159 and this and that, blah, blah. Okay, sure. We'll be there at the time. We'll be there.
Okay, thank you. Make sure the check is at the door. And sure, I'll be here waiting. And we're, the house of the blue on the outside. You see the mailbox right there? It says moron out there with a capital M. That will be me. So you can't miss it. It's because the whole block is like that. Mine's is the one with the red flag sticking up. So if you do that, I'll greatly appreciate it.
That's us. That's us. And we sit back. Everything is okay. We are superior. We are superior. And you know what? When I talk to every other country, whenever I get the chance to, and there's somebody from a different country, and they're my buddy or they're my entrepreneur friend or something like that. And it was way before the pandemic happened. There was a guy that came from, let's see, where would he come? He came from, was it Africa? It was probably Africa, or I don't remember where he came from. But he definitely wasn't from America. When he came here, I think he was from India in some place. But when he came here, he said, and I began to tell him about some of the things that the American people do. He said, they are out of their mind. He said, there's no way that we live like that. He said, what? He says, these dumb, lazy Americans. I was like, yeah, so you're absolutely right. He said, how did you survive this long? As I stated myself, I'm Batman in the Batcave. That's all I could do. It's like, because we don't comprehend what we do. And then guess what? And all we can do is go to the gym and try to get on a treadmill for like 30 minutes and think that's going to solve everything. People had a certain health regimen. And the reason why there wasn't such a thing as a gym in the old days, because people was physically active. They get out and push the bulldozers and they stay physical. They use their body, they use their mind, they use their fingers, and they use their memory. Especially in kindergarten in the younger years. People used every faculty that God gave them, our nature gave them. We, on the other hand, today, we try to create and do everything we can possible not to use our physical faculties. Do you see the reverse? We create devices, we create computers, we create all sorts of senseless, moronic machinery, anything to prevent us from using our own natural self. And you wonder why we're disconnected from nature. This is why I call this audio sponsored evil. And then when things happen, we call it the devil. When our house burned down, or when we're driving 95 miles per hour and we don't use our turn signal and we flip on our side, now we want to say that it has something to do with the devil. When the devil is your thinking. The devil is that ugly person in the mirror. Senseless behavior, and it's not doing anything but getting worse because it's sponsored. It's sponsored through our lifestyle. It's sponsored through our lack of concern for ourselves and the future. It's sponsored because we don't want to sponsor our natural self nor our organic functions in order to live. We want to sponsor computers. We want to sponsor the functionality of devices and machinery, not human function thinking nor memory glands and memory systems. All we care about is what we can push with our fingers, not what we can push with our human power. So evil is sponsored, and it's not going to stop until we start sponsoring ourselves. You've learned something in this channel. I know you did learn something today. I'll make it clean, uncut, straightforward because you are in the academy of Wildman and me as your professor, Leon C, aka Morpheus. Continue to like, share, and subscribe, and begin to comprehend why I say 2020 America Rise, I'll fall hard, in my ebook form available to you on Amazon.